You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. Monday was awful. I got to sit here and relive 2 awful days of football. LSU, an historic loss to Ole Miss, and the Saints just absolutely being lifeless against Tampa. And I had to sit here for 3 hours and just regurgitate all of that garbage. Wasn't fun. So I said, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to pump a little sunshine. Because everybody over the last, and I get it, you're rolling your eyes. But everybody since Saturday has asked the same question. Man, the LSU offense is so good. The defense is awful. How can they fix it? Everyone's asked the same question. What I would like to do is give you a little bit, a smidge, as it were, of historical context. LSU right now, this offense, is one of the best in the country. When you look at LSU offensively right now, they're leading the SEC in darn near every statistical category. Brian Kelly talked about the offense on Monday and, yes, even called to mind the 2019 team.
You know, the 2019 team, prolific. It won the national championship. These numbers are starting to look like those kind of numbers. That's the kind of offense that we're talking about. And that's why it's so darn important to play better defense. That's why it's so important. Because when you have an offense like this, you want to be able to showcase it. Absolutely. And it doesn't get the showcase because all the questions here are about the defense.
Okay, so we know. Offense is really good. By the way, top 10 nationally in 6 categories. Nationally, LSU number 1 in first downs, number 3 in third down conversions, number 4 in total yards, number 6 in passing, number 7 in scoring, number 10 in pass efficiency. LSU averaging 44 points per game right now. They have been absolutely spectacular. When you want to look at more of what LSU has been able to do, I could go on and on and on. Malik Neighbors, 5th fastest wide receiver to 2,000 receiving yards. Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. both eclipsed 100 receiving yards in consecutive games. That had never happened in history where teammates had gone over 100 yards in consecutive games together. Jaden Daniels, the first LSU quarterback to account for 4 touchdowns in 4 straight games during the same season. Burrow did it the last 2 games of 2018, the first 2 games of 2019. I could go on and on and on. You look at LSU right now, in among the national leaders, total offense, number 1 in the SEC. Passing touchdowns, number 1 in the SEC. Points responsible for, number 1 in the SEC. This is Jaden Daniels. Passing, number 1 in the SEC. Pass efficiency, number 1. Completion percentage, number 3. I could go on and on and on. There are 6 quarterbacks in the history of college football that have had 10,000 yards passing, 2,000 yards rushing. Jaden Daniels joined that group this past Saturday. There are only... Jordan Jefferson is the only LSU quarterback to have 4,000 passing yards, 1,000 rushing yards. It's incredible what Jaden Daniels, what this offense is right now. I have a giant long list of game notes that I could go through, but I'm not going to keep going through because I think you get it all right now. This offense is fantastic. Muse, give me so I asked Muse to look up LSU's all-time leaders in scoring offense. We know 2019 was number 1 at 49 points a game.
48.4.
48.4 in 2019. Okay, what are the rest?
So the 2007 national champions are second at 38.6 points per game. 2013, we talked about yesterday, 35.8 points per game, followed up by the 2011 team that averaged 35.7, and the number 5 is 1969, 34.9 points per game.
How about that 1969 squad?
Just running it up, dude.
Way back in the day.
Ahead of their time.
For sure they were. And right now, LSU's at 44. So LSU is 6 points per game ahead of the 07 national champions and just 4 points off the pace set by the 2019 offense, the greatest offense we've ever seen here. So all that to say, they're historically good. And this is why there's hope if you're an LSU fan. Because if they can fix the D to be marginally better, the offense is good enough to beat anybody you play. And I'm also confident that the defense isn't going to be that bad again. Well, what makes you think that? How about some context? It is so hard sometimes to see the forest through the trees. And sometimes we lose sight of context when we're living in a moment. A year ago, LSU lost 40-13 to Tennessee. A week later, remember what they did? They went to Florida and won 45-35. In 2021, you remember when LSU went out to Lexington and got absolutely pistol whipped by Kentucky? The final score was 42-21. LSU scored late. It wasn't that close. You remember that? Do you know what LSU did a week later, the week after the embarrassing loss to Kentucky? Ty Davis-Price ran for over 300 yards, and LSU beat Florida 49-42. That 2020 season, the worst defense in LSU history, when they lost to Bama 55-17, which was, by the way, the worst loss I've ever witnessed in my life, more so than the other night. That Bama had 45 at halftime of that game. If they wanted to score 100, they could have. They called off the dogs in the second half. Remember what LSU did the week after they lost to Bama 55-17 in the COVID year? They went to Florida as a 3-touchdown dog and in the fog beat the Gators 37-34. I could keep going. They got shut out by Bama in 2018, lost 29-0. The next week, they went to Arkansas and won 24-17. Back in 2017, when LSU lost to Troy, a week later, they go to Gainesville and win 17-16. I can go on and on and on. My point being, generally what happens when you are a prideful human and you get embarrassed, you do one of two things. You either melt or you put on your big boy pants, you get your ass back to work, and you show up inspired. And I got a long list in LSU history of teams that were embarrassed that come back inspired. Now, I'm not telling you that this LSU defense is ever going to be great. They're not going to be. But can they be better than 34 missed tackles, 706 yards, and 55 points like they were in Oxford? You're damn right they can be. And I think they will be on Saturday. And maybe the biggest vote of confidence for LSU this week is that point spread. Y'all, LSU is coming off the worst defensive performance in its history. It's going on the road to Missouri, a ranked Missouri team. I'm not sure if you paid attention, but Missouri people are outside of their minds for this game. It's sold out. They're printing T-shirts. They see a vulnerable LSU. They think they're 5-0. They're ranked. They've beaten Kansas State. They see this as a huge opportunity for them. All of that, all those circumstances, and the LSU team that just got embarrassed at Ole Miss going on the road for the second consecutive week is a touchdown favorite at Missouri. Odds makers are begging the general public to throw their money at Missouri this weekend, which tells you go the other way. I'm not sitting here telling you LSU's going to be great. I'm not telling you they're winning out. Not telling you any of that. Not telling you they're winning the West. Not telling you any of that. What I'm telling you is the defense this Saturday is not going to be as bad as it was last Saturday. And there's plenty of evidence in their football history to suggest LSU is going to get off the mat and play well. And if you do that this weekend, you have a chance to get back on track. You get Auburn at home, you get Army at home, you get an open date before you go to Bama, and let's see. They're not going to be great defensively, but can they be good enough to complement this for the ages type offense? Find out Saturday morning at 11. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.